Oh, I guess I'm live already. All right. I'm just adjusting my camera right now. So nobody's here yet. I haven't been live for a long time, so that makes sense. Let me just adjust that like this. All right. All right. So that phone is right next to my head, but I'll try to do it without getting distracted. All right. So anyone just joining, I apologize. I have not made any videos in a very long time. As usual, I get busy, and when I get busy, the videos are the first thing that stops. But I'm doing it now. I actually have a lot of ideas that I like to do. I always have ideas, I know, but I was just on Instagram going live, and I was telling them, but I have a plan to do like figure drawing or figure drawing, yeah, with an airbrush. I've been doing a lot of figure drawing studies lately. Wait, I think I got one over here. Yeah, with an airbrush. Here's one I did just yesterday. Been doing these like figure drawing studies with my airbrush, and I was thinking about doing these live so people could not only just watch me tattoo, or excuse me, watch me paint, but people could watch and learn. Actually, I can learn like figure drawing. As many of you know, if you watch my stuff, you know I'm a freehand artist primarily, so I don't like to use a lot of stencils unless I have to. Have to meaning like it's a portrait for a client, or it just makes more sense to use it. But if I can help it, I like to do things freehand. Like this piece here is all, not only is it freehand, but I'm pretty much making it all up as I go, which you guys are coming in late because I made all this up all day today and yesterday. I didn't want to live stream. Well, first of all, Alex was working today, and I didn't want to bother him with a live stream. We're in my tattoo shop right now. And another reason is I don't want people to sit and watch me kind of, changing my mind every 10 seconds with different ideas and stuff. So I waited until the design was at a place where I kind of knew where I was going. That way I could, focus more on talking and not like making creative decisions, which I still will be making a lot of creative decisions, especially with the water and stuff. What's up? Hello to everyone. If anyone has questions, I am an open book. I'm pretty much out. If you guys have anything you'd like to ask about airbrushing or art or tattoos or anything like that, I am happy to answer. I won't probably. I have to like bend my head back to read everything, so I might not see the questions right away. But whenever I do reach my head back to look at them, I'll try to read as many as I can. I have no idea. I haven't streamed in a very long time, so I don't even know how many people are going to tune in. So far, it looks like I got 7 people. Yes, it's been a while. That's true. To be honest with you, I have a lot of excuses. One being getting too busy. Another one, I have to be in the right headspace. I think I get maybe nervous or something now. I don't know. not just that, I don't know. I don't always feel like I have anything interesting to share, but I have been making a lot of plans to, like I said before, like with the figure drawing and stuff, I've been planning on having more content that's art related. So I've been watching a lot of figure drawing YouTube channels about how to draw from imagination, and it's so awesome and it's so inspiring to me because I love to be able to paint and draw from my imagination. I mean, I've been doing this for enough years. I've got a pretty good idea of how things work. I don't really, I mean, I'll always use reference, but I don't need it as much, so I can actually do things from my imagination that I don't think I was capable of before. A lot of this is from my imagination. A lot of it's from reference also. The only thing that's directly from reference is the hands, because it's the client's hands. This is a tattoo design, so the clients that I'm doing the design for, that's their hands. And other than that, everything else is pretty much out of my head. Not pretty much out of my head, it is out of my head. What I'll do is I'll reference anatomy. So like, if I'm trying to figure out how do the suckers, like these little things, like attach to the tentacle, I'll go and I'll look up tentacles to see, you know, the anatomy of them. And then once I kind of understand the anatomy, then I kind of just go with it. And I think I learn something new every time I do an octopus. I've got this like stubbornness about octopus tentacles where they have to look perfect. I don't know. And honestly, I've never made perfect octopus tentacles, but I will always keep trying. I feel like the contrast is too high when I look at the feed on my phone. In real life, this painting doesn't have near the contrast, because I'm actually filming it with my phone, so it's kind of auto deciding. I used to use a whole like camera setup and stuff like that, but man, that was a lot of work. And I wanted to keep doing this, and I didn't want the fact that I didn't want to set up and manage a bunch of equipment be the reason that I don't. So I just said, screw it, I'll just do it with my phone. Because we live stream in my tattoo shop, and so I have to tattoo all day. Yeah, so it's hard to like have a bunch of equipment ready to go. I tattoo probably 6 to 9 hours a day every day, like 5 to 6 days a week, sometimes 7, depends on the week. Sometimes 10 hours a day. So I think my next video that I do on live is going to be the figure drawing video, where I just go through the entire process of freehand airbrushing and then talk about every decision and give tips on how to practice and do it that way. I find that if you can freehand something, then you can pretty much paint anything you want. You can truly access your imagination when you're free of, you know, other tools. Even my Procreate, I feel like, was weighing me down because I would pre-render my ideas on Procreate, so that way I pretty much made all of my decisions ahead of time, which would leave very little room for creativity. And so recently I stopped doing that, and I try to design everything right here on the canvas, which is what I did with this one. And in case anyone's just tuning in, they want to know, this is a tattoo design that I'm working on. I'm actually going to tattoo this on a client here in a few weeks. They came in yesterday. We had a consultation, and they told me their story, and they told me their vision, and this is me rendering it out. So this is a full sleeve. We got wrist, elbow, ditch, which is the inside of your elbow, the other side, shoulder, bicep, tricep, middle, hand down there. And this is the actual size. So I will be tattooing this exactly the same size that I'm painting it. I've got this method of tracing the arm using a press and seal, which is nothing special. It's pretty standard, but one thing that I do is when I paint it, in order to make a stencil instead of tracing it, what I do is I actually photograph it with size references, and then I print it out with Illustrator. So I end up making my stencil with Procreate, so I can actually make final adjustments and stuff, which is pretty cool. So I'll probably play with color and stuff like that inside of Procreate, if I end up adding color, which right now it looks like we might add a little bit of color. Maybe I'll add color in the painting, I don't know yet. A lot of this, like I said, I've been making it up as I go, so. I've probably put 10 different tentacle poses on here before I was happy with it. So if anyone's watching, feel free to share the video. I'll probably be doing this for a little while. Yeah, and let people know that I'm painting again. Actually, I've been painting a lot lately. I went more than a year without painting anything. But then I just suddenly had this epiphany where I was just like, I need to start painting my tattoos instead of using Procreate. And since then, that's what I've been doing. And it's been working out pretty well. I think I need to put a better white into this. Right now I'm using kind of a neutral white. I think if I put a stronger white in, I can make, more impactful decisions. Right now, the decisions I'm making are so very subtle. Maybe for the sake of entertainment, I'll pick a spot and just render it out. so we can see what maybe a final render would look like on maybe just one section. Instead of trying to build the whole thing, I don't know. Adding some details to the hand. So this painting is actually on just poster board because it's not really meant to be any like kind of real piece of wall art or anything. It's just a kind of a sketch or a drawing for the tattoo. I think I've almost got enough information for what I need, but I'm still gonna render it out a little further. Local dude says, can I have mods if I sub? I don't know what that means. I apologize for anyone watching if I'm doing kind of a boring stream tonight. I haven't done it in a long time, so I'm kind of rusty. I just wanted to kind of kick the dust off the boots tonight and do a little streaming. If anyone watching hasn't kept up with me much lately, if you used to watch my videos before, you might know that I'm a full-time tattooer now, and I've been a full-time tattooer for going on 10 years. And this is a design for a tattoo that I'm working on. I got another tattoo I need to work on right after this one. And yeah, I've been using my airbrush to design my tattoos lately. And it's been working out really well. Good to see you too, Shine Customs. Even though you're just seeing my hands, but yeah, I'm just sitting here thinking about the life drawing idea I have. Like I said, I'm gonna do figure drawing tutorials soon with an airbrush. That's what I showed this at the beginning of the video. I'll show it real quick. This is just one little one that I was doing really quickly, but I do whole pages of those. I've been working on my figure drawing because I want to do more like figure drawing out of my head to make characters and stuff for my tattoos and other designs. I also have a mural that I'm going to be doing soon on our building. Hopefully, if everything works out, I'm going to be doing a giant mural. I'm going to do several murals. I got to do one on this wall that I'm sitting in front of right now. Then I'm going to do one right outside of our building. We have this arch right outside of our door, and there's nothing in the arch right now, so I was going to put some kind of like maybe Greek god kind of situation in that arch. And then on our back wall, we have this giant wall right behind our studio that faces a brewery. And I was thinking about, well, not just thinking about, I really am going to try to make time to do a large mural. And what's been holding me back is, first of all, I'm busy with tattoos, but secondly, I haven't had a good idea, but I think today I just came up with one. So our building is very Greek inspired because this part of Florida that we live in is a lot of Greek influence. And so I was like, well, I think whatever I do needs to have some kind of, Greek something going on. And so, there's the whole Greek god idea. And then we have a wine place next to us called Wine at the Docks. And they're excited about us doing a mural as well because it'll help bring business into the wine bar. And so I was thinking, oh, well, maybe I could do, like, is there a Greek god of wine, And then come to find out there is, of, like, good times and, like, something like that. And so I was like, oh, and it's a cool looking character. And so I was like, oh, well, I'll do a Greek god of wine on there. And I was like, well, I mean, if I'm going to do a Greek god of wine, is there a Greek god of, art or drawing or painting or creativity or anything like that? And come to find out, not only is there, but it's Athena. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but it looked like Athena is the goddess of, creativity and art and craftsmanship. And so I think that would be a perfect combination to do a giant mural involving the Greek god of both wine and craftsmanship. And we've also got all these my arch on the outside of my building isn't actually the only one. There's quite a few of them. And maybe I can do a Greek god for every business that we have in this building. So far we have a beauty salon, we have a wine bar, we have us, a tattoo shop, and we have a dry cleaner. So maybe there's a god of, like, I don't know, cleanliness or something. And so each arch can have a god representative of whatever, the businesses are in each arch. I think that'd be cool. I think I finally came up with my idea. I was going to do, like, Poseidon or something, but it sounds almost kind of generic. And the reason I was going to do Poseidon is because we live literally across the street from the Gulf of Mexico, down here in Florida. So the intercoastal water, right outside of Clearwater. So if you walk out to, just down the street, which is like a block away, you can see Calidisi Island from the water. And so I was like, oh, well, I'll do something kind of water themed. And but I still was stumped. I was like, oh, do I want to do a mermaid, or do I want to do something manatee related, because there's a lot of manatee in Florida, or do I want to do sharks, or there's a lot of dolphins. There's actually quite a few dolphins just out here. In the mornings, you can just go out and watch the dolphins play. But then I was like, no, I don't know if that's really my thing. And I like the Greek mythology, and I also like, unless you believe in it, then whatever. But I just like that whole thing, and I think that would be more fun to play with. So I think we finally have my idea. Only took me almost 4 years to come up with something. I don't know if Athena. So I looked it up. See, I thought Athena was. I don't know what I thought she was actually. But earlier when I was searching for, God of art or whatever, Athena popped up. There was another one that was like the god of something kind of similar to art, but Athena more specifically, it was said something about crafts and stuff. I'll have to look into it more specifically. Whatever god it happens to be, that's the one I'll be using. I think Apollo was the other one, but I can't remember now. But I think it was not exactly art; it was something else. Oh, music and something like that. That's what Apollo was. And I'm not a musician, so I think Athena was more. If I remember, I just briefly read it right before I came out here. Craft, like craftsman, like crafting and just handiwork, which is what we do. Not only are we artists, but we're handymen. Our craftsmen, because both airbrushing, custom paint, tattoos is certainly a craftsman kind of job. It's not just simple art. So I think that's probably falls more in line with the category, but I could be wrong. Like I said, I just briefly looked it up, so I could be completely off base, but it's just what Google popped up for me. So if anyone's just tuning in and they're wondering what I'm working on, I've said it a few times, but I'll repeat. This is actually just a piece of poster board. It's more or less just a sketch, a glorified sketch. It's a design for a tattoo that I'm going to be doing soon. The client commissioned the design. So that's why it's not like really highly rendered or anything like that. It's more or less just, something for me to reference and work off of when I do the actual tattoo. And so I've made most of my decisions on the design, actually I made all the decisions on the design right here on this poster board as I worked on it. In fact, I still am making changes here and there. I made most of the decisions earlier in the day before I started streaming. like tentacle. I mean, I drew the whole thing. So right now, the main thing I'm playing with, more than just simple details, is value. Because when you're tattooing, you really want the lights and the darks to be exactly right so that it really pops off the skin really well. I think value in tattooing is far more important than detail. Making something that, you know, really works well on the skin. And so so that's really what I'm focused on in this painting, is the lights and the darks. Ooh, I just had a little blowout. We'll fix that later. So that's why I'm not like super clean or anything like that. Just kind of working it out, working out them deets. This is more, I always say, like, when I'm designing, a lot of people, I don't know, I don't know, I always say I'm like having a discussion with the painting. So I'm not like, in my mind, I'm not trying to really pre-decide what it should look like. I'm just letting the painting talk to me and then kind of reacting to it. So I think sometimes we can overthink things, and that actually like holds us back. So if you're like more open-minded to letting the painting just kind of develop, you get a bigger, more creative, more impactful look. So that way everything doesn't just kind of start looking uniform and flat. I think when we design really quickly, like just copying photos from, which I'm extremely guilty of, so I'm not dogging it, from the internet, you know, you end up just kind of, you know, kind of repeating the same routine, and in the end, you know, I think for me at least, it feels kind of unsatisfying, and I always feel like I can do better and do more. And so that's what this is. It's just me doing my due diligence, I guess, to try to come up with something more original and more unique, and something that's far more thought out. Kind of rambling, kind of even forgot what I started talking about. I think these kind of live streams work better when Faith is here and I have somebody to talk to. Faith's in Oklahoma tonight. She had a family emergency, so she suddenly had to leave and go back to Oklahoma. That's all right, Shane. I can't wait till I get to my really dark values. I'm trying to like be very patient. Like if you look at this pencil compared to it, you can see that I'm pretty far away from black right now. So I'm trying to be patient and not, you know, be too quick to go to black, so I can really earn the darker parts. Sorry, my face is right next to the phone. That's why I haven't really been working up here too much, because my phone is right there. This is supposed to be like a hand reaching from the surface of the water. So right here where these bubbles are going to start breaking is, let me move my face away from the phone, is, you know, this is going to be like a wave and the hand reaching through. It's not going to be like anatomically correct, I guess. It's not going to be true to life because it's a tattoo, but this is going to be a wave. Up here is going to be like paradise, more or less. Palm trees, and an island and a sun and more water. So the idea is that the hand is kind of reaching down, like it's a husband's hand reaching for his wife, and the tentacles kind of represent depression and mental health and the things that can drag you down. And the hand reaching from the surface, which is going to be coming from, you know, a bright sunshine island, kind of represents, you know, reaching your hand out for help. And he kind of wants to let his wife know that he's always there to kind of pull her out from the muck, you know. So I've been using this app lately on my iPad that is so amazing. Um, the app is called VizRef. And so I'm able to put like 30 references up at once, and I can just scroll in and out of them. So right when I'm working, I can go from like having water references to the hand references to different octopuses and, you know, different things like that. And so it's really, really, really good tool for creativity. It's like having a dream board or whatever. So even I'll use AI sometimes to pull references. So I try not to use AI to like come up with my idea, but what I'll do is like, you know, I'll say like, oh, an island with palm trees, and then see what it comes up with, and then I compile all the references that the AI comes up with, and then kind of just pick from them, you know, like, oh, I like how that one did a tree, or I like how that one did its clouds, and I kind of, just like I would any other reference, where I don't directly pull from any one reference, I just kind of let it kind of get my brain cooking. So I think AI is a pretty great tool in that sense, if you're using it as a reference tool to kind of like help with writer's block. But it is far too tempting, and I don't think very artistic to just give it a prompt and then call it your art. I've seen people say that on the internet already. So like, oh, this is my art. I'm like, no, it's not your, it's no more their art as this client's art to me. Like, my client told me what to do, but I came up with it all. They gave me a prompt, and I came up with everything. And so that doesn't mean it's their art. Like, they didn't create it any more than anyone putting in a prompt did. But you can certainly use it as a tool to help you create. And I think it's fine to use it in a commercial way where, like, you know, if you need a reference, like no more than like in tattoos where we'll just Google an image if they're like, oh, I need a rose or something like that. Well, you just Google a rose and you kind of copy it. I think that's fine, you know, with tattoos, because that's all you're really doing anyway, is kind of doing some flash. But when it comes to actually calling something your art, that's a different thing. I think I'm about ready to start adding some darker blacks in there. Try to get it to pop a little bit. I'll do a little more with this kind of medium gray black, and then I'll switch to something a little stronger. One cool thing about doing it in these midtones is I can do reflecting lights like right here really easily. All you have to do, and I don't think I'm going to do it here, I might, I don't know, is just shade it like you would normally when you want to deal with, like, you know, secondary light sources. Shade it as if it has only one light source, and then you just, because it's easy to visualize a light source coming from here in your mind, just one light source. Well, if you're going to visualize two light sources, well, then you just reverse it. You ignore everything you do with, you just do one light source, ignore that, and then you add a second one. And I'll do it real quick just to kind of demonstrate what I'm talking about. So I will add a little bit of reflecting light underneath this tentacle. So in order to do it, I need to make sure I got all my shadows and everything the way they need to be first. So I'm going to add a little bit of a drop shadow. And you'll notice when I add a drop shadow under this tentacle, this is actually the arm right here that is behind this tentacle. So I need to add a shadow. Let's see if that shows up really well. Yeah, I think it shows up all right. Let me move this down so people can see. Okay, so right here, I'm adding a kind of a drop shadow. And you'll notice when you do it, you got dark and dark, right? So you're gonna lose the line, the edge. And just like in photography, like, the reason you would use a secondary light source is to bring the image away from the background when the two things kind of blend together. So, as I said, what I'll do is I'll just shade as if it doesn't have a light source. So I'm going to imagine that it's either getting some reflected light from the water from this tentacle down here, or maybe it's lit from below because who knows, there's something down there lighting it from below. And so I'll imagine I have a brand new light source at the bottom, and I'll just highlight it accordingly. And I'll ignore the previous light source that I've been using the whole time. So let me just do a little bit more of this. So I'll grab my white. So just like here, the light's gonna hit here. If I got a light coming from the bottom or reflecting off of something down here, it's gonna hit the other side. So let's see if I pull this off and not look like an idiot. All right. See, and I just let that kind of bleed onto it. And now you're creating a little bit of separation here. And I'm just imagining again that this light is just reflecting off of these things. My white isn't spraying very clean, so I can't really do a lot of little sharp details. But it's gonna help like separate this stuff from the background. Yeah, my white's a little choppy right now. I need to clean the tip, or the whole airbrush maybe. This airbrush hasn't been cleaned in a few days. All right. And white likes to settle at the bottom of your airbrush and give you shit. But anyway, so there, now I'm bringing a different light source in. So let's create the shadow, because we need like a middle shadow. So we'll go back in and punch the shadow back out again. And that shadow is being casted onto the arm. There's just a little bit of arm right here before it, you know, takes a turn and goes this way. I got some shadow in this water. And the water actually is going to have a shadow too. So I'm going to shadow onto everything as if the water, this water is casting a shadow on everything. That'll help, you know, push it into more of a three-dimensional look. So this is just this kind of shape reflected. You can see that I work very, very, very slowly. I'm very patient when I'm painting like this. And then we got the back of this tentacle. So I've got this tentacle right back here it's very unimportant, so it's okay if the tentacle kind of disappears in the background and you don't really like catch your eye too much. You know, this one here. Because it's really just a kind of a space filler, just to give it a little depth. It's not a focal point. So I can start increasing the contrast, which the contrast is actually going to increase anyway when I add black to the mixture, which I should probably do here in just a second. So you don't want your secondary light to be any more powerful than the primary light, which is going to be this white in the foreground. So I have an opaque white I haven't pulled out yet that I'm going to use to punch this white up. But you'll see when I get like my dark values in there, I'll get quite a bit more depth. All right. Actually, I think I need to carry this on right here. There we go. See, reflected light. I got some down here too, see? And see, because it's another light source, it's going to create its own highlights. So, and those highlights will exist in the shadow of the other one. I use this program called Daz Studio, which is a 3D program. It's like 3D Dollhouse, basically. And I play with lighting in that a lot. And it helps me visualize lights a lot better because I can move them around and see their effects in real time. My white's pretty settled, so it's fucking globbing out on me. There we go. See, I'm just kind of bumping it because I don't want this to overpower the shadow. I just want to create a little separation. All right, so here now I'm gonna go ahead and dump out this gray that I have in here. Maybe I'll add a little bit right here just before I waste it. Okay, I'm gonna dump this gray out and I'm gonna go to something stronger. It's not gonna be my full black. In fact, I'm not even using black at all. I made a neutral gray. Well, it's not neutral, it's a cool gray. I made it with burnt umber and a blue, which I think in hindsight, I probably should have used a less strong blue, but it's okay because again, it's really just a sketch anyway, so it doesn't matter if it's really blue. I think the blueness of it's kind of nice. I think this would be a good gray set to use for, you know, memorial and heavenly pieces and underwater pieces like I'm doing. All right, so I pre-mixed, and again, there's no black in this. It looks black, but there's no black in it. It's just burnt umber and that blue. I might add a couple drops of black to it, but I'm going to be very sparing because the black can really, really change things very quickly. And I don't want to do that right yet. I added a little bit of reducer to the bottom so that the paint doesn't settle on the bottom, the little pigment granules. And then I'm opening it up and adding that to it. Let's see what we did. These bottles are Iwata bottles I got at Hobby Lobby. They got like a 5-pack, and I just made my own gray set. I numbered them from 1 to 5, from light to dark. All right, this one's gonna be quite a bit darker, so it's probably gonna change quite a bit. What's up? AWOL SFCO. All right. Here goes. Oh yeah, already a lot darker. Now there's gonna be some popping happening. A lot more change. See, it's a lot darker. Yeah, that's nice. So now we're gonna get some big impact. So I'm gonna be very careful with this because I don't wanna steal away from anything. See, if you're just picky about where you put this dark, that's where the depth comes from. You'll notice, like my tattoos, but my paintings, often people will comment on how deep they look. They think it's like computer rendered or something like that. This is why, because I'm very, very specific about when I use black. And again, this isn't even black. So even when this has done its job, I can add a little black to it and then really, really make it pop. Like I might put a little bit of black like in these really dark areas and then boom, it'll push forward. Yeah, these tentacles are about to pop off the freaking canvas. Just gonna do one like mid-tone shadow through the center like that because the light, I assume, is coming this way, so. So I think since this is the focal point, this is where I'm gonna focus my attention. get this water to push forward. So I'm just throwing a nice kind of a choppy line along the bottom edge of this water, just because I want it to push into the foreground. And then in a minute, I'll pump the highlights back up too. I should probably be moving my hand a little bit faster. This black is trying to skate on me a lot. Or I could just turn my air pressure down. Yeah, just need to turn down my air pressure. Yeah, sorry I've been gone a while. Like I said before, like I just stay so busy with my tattoos, man. I literally have no time. Even today, it's supposed to be a day off, and I've been doing this all day long, and this is for a client. Literally since the moment I woke up. That's how long I've been working on this. What's up, Darren? Oh, wow. Faith just texted me. She got tickets to go see Sleep Token in Oklahoma. That's super exciting. If you guys haven't listened to Sleep Token yet, you should give them a try. They're a fairly new band, but they just popped off just recently and pretty freaking amazing, honestly. I've been pretty much wearing them out. The two new bands I've been wearing out, well, newish bands, has been Sleep Token and Polyphia. I really love Polyphia too. And of course, Deftones. I've always worn out Deftones. And they've never been worn out. I've been listening to them for 20 something years. And I still love them to death. Faith had a tragedy, or an emergency, I should say, in her family. And so she had to go back to Oklahoma. And so I'm stoked that she was able to pull off this concert. She needs something like that right now. The tickets were sold out when we were trying to get tickets for her, but she found a friend that had some spare tickets, so that's super cool. I was pretty bummed out with the new music that was coming out for a long time, but there's a few bands that have kind of reinvigorated my excitement. I think some of the old emo bands are actually doing some pretty cool shit. And I really didn't like all that emo, screamo stuff back in the day. But the old mature version of emo kids are actually pretty cool. I think that's what like most tattooers are now. There's the emo kids all growed up. You can see how the black is making a big impact, even though it's not actual black. I mean, it's like an oil painter's black. Now pull it back a little bit so people can see the whole of it. There we go. I'm still alive. Yeah, I'm alive. Yeah. Still painting, still doing art. Never stopped. Boy, this airbrush is just wearing me out tonight, man. These old bones ain't what they used to be. I have to push down so hard on the airbrush. I can't believe I used to do this for like fucking 10 hours a day every day. Like, man, I would have carpal tunnel so bad. This certainly hurts more than tattoos, like big time. Like tattoos, I don't really feel any fatigue really. I think I need like a modified airbrush because it really hurts my fingers. Oh yeah, yeah. See, I've been using this Coban tape or whatever you call it, but my thumb, I cut my thumb some years ago after a freshly sharpened knife, and so my thumb ain't what it used to be. And then I think it's just maybe it's just the muscles aren't as strong from just holding this thing, because boy, it's getting to me. I have been doing it all day long, but it doesn't take long. Like my hands are just hurting. I'm trying to be light-handed on it, but it's hard. I probably should just back up and do it like a t-shirt painter. You can't feel anything with it? Yeah, but it's also my grip. I think because I'm so used to using a tattoo machine and my grip is really fat. And so I never really have to grip anything more than this. And here I'm like, I'm just so locked in. I think I need like a fucking cheater grip or something. I don't know. I've seen those pistol grips. I don't know. I'll try them. I need something that's gonna help with this. I've actually had to start going to chiropractor, yoga, all that bullshit. Cause, dude, sitting and working for fucking 10, 15 hours, whatever the shit day, you know, like, boy, it really does start fucking your body up after a while. I've learned to like use proper tools though, like my tattoo chair is very specific. I stretch, I do all kinds of things because it'll fuck you up. Yeah, you said you square trigger. I have a square trigger on my Micron. I haven't noticed a difference, but I don't use my Micron that much anymore. Does it make a big difference, the square trigger? This is where that secondary light's gonna show. Yeah, push the background back and then that foreground comes forward. Takumi trigger? I never tried it. Yeah, man. Yeah, I need something. Actually, you know what's crazy? I moved to Florida like 3 or more years ago. Well, not quite 4, about 3 years ago, right before the pandemic. And I just found out not very long ago that I live right next to Spray Gunner. And I've been out of the loop for a long time, and I've heard that Spray Gunner is kind of picking up a lot of the traffic, I guess, when it comes to the United States. I'm told, I don't know, but Spray Gunner is a pretty cool place. I've never lived this close to an airbrush shop before, except I did live in Anaheim briefly, and so I was able to go to Coast Airbrush when I wanted to. Anaheim, California, when I was in my RV, which I still have my RV, we just don't travel as much as we used to. And so I was close to Coast Airbrush for a while, but yeah, it is awful convenient being able to go to Spray Gunner whenever something happens. I need to talk to them about my trigger issues. Some pretty nice guys over there. Get Botox in the index? Yeah. Put a shadow on these, make them look deeper. Push the background more, see if we can get that foreground to pop forward. This is like tattooing. When you're doing black and gray, it's a lot of this. A lot of like pushing backgrounds so that things can stand off the skin a little better. When you're painting on canvas, you can get away with things looking more subtle, but with tattoos, you really need to push that contrast really heavy. Now here's one. Let's see if we can get this to go really far forward. Look right here. It's kind of flat right now. And all we need is a drop shadow. Where do I want it? I can use my hand as a reference. Look at the shadow on my hand. All right, take care. kind of got a little overzealous with the black there. Calm it down a little bit. Just tone it down. All right, I think I'm gonna leave it there for tonight. Next time I'll do this upper part, but I think it looks pretty good for now. I'll see you guys later. Take it easy.